Crystal Tower Information Whiskey 21530 Zulu, wind 060 at 5.
076 Mike Juliet, this is departure radar contact.
Hazardous weather information from Minnesota available on flight service frequency.
You've dialed in the Flying Midwest podcast, connecting aviators from across America's heartland, sharing news, information, and events from around the region.
Calling 1953 on Overtime, Roger, turn left heading 070, runway 9er, clear for takeoff.
Sit back, relax, and join our crew for some hangar talk as we discuss a wide variety of regional aviation topics.
Archer 71143, flying flight, runway 280 left, quick takeoff, left hand southbound.
And now, from our home at the Anoka County Blaine Airport, our checklist is complete, and we're ready for departure for another episode of the Flying Midwest podcast.
Contact departure, every flight.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Flying Midwest podcast. I'm Andrew, known around these parts as the Badger Pilot, joined as always by my co-hosts, starting with Maddie. Hello, Maddie.
Hey.
And Jim. Hey, Jim.
Hello.
Hey. We are excited to kick off, well, we already kind of kicked off, but officially kick off our Oshkosh AirVenture interviews, and I think we're finally starting to hit that point of recovery where we actually feel like we're catching up on sleep and our legs are instead of sore from all walking. But yeah, AirVenture is not over for us. We have many, many interviews ahead.
Which also means AirVenture is not over for you. This is the first of many interviews from AirVenture this year. And I don't know, we kind of talked at the outset amongst ourselves about the order that we would do these in, and I still don't know that I have a good plan for what order we'll release these in. But there's a number of really good interviews coming up that I'm excited about. We've got the Goodyear blimp pilot. We've got a U2 pilot. We've got the cheese curd taco guys. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff. A lot of good episodes coming up in the near future. I think it'd be fair to say that we once again worked our tails off at AirVenture.
We can't seem to not overbook ourselves.
Well, I'll say this. When we did the initial planning with the schedule, it was kind of broken up that there was windows in there for us to do other stuff. And I think that we decided the other stuff was more interviews. It's just how it happened.
Yeah, especially the interview that we're going to be doing in today's episode where we had a break and Maddie said, I have another interview, come with me. And we didn't know what we were getting into.
I literally stole them from a forum. I said, hey, we have an interview in T-minus 5 minutes. And they're like, oh, really?
But I'm so glad that we went. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm glad you guys were game. Yeah, that was fun.
We'll get into that in a few minutes. But should we cover a couple of things from AirVenture this year?
I think we should.
All right. So, comments from the CEO and chairman of EAA, Jack Pelton. So the one comment from EAA's CEO and chairman, Jack Pelton, was, quote, our theme of 1 week endless possibilities certainly was true at Oshkosh in 2025. Whether it was aviation history or innovation or camaraderie, it was present in countless ways during the week. This year's highlights and activities also set the foundation for what's to come in the world of flight, and that is perhaps the most exciting development of all. So, they've also released their numbers for the show for this year, and the attendance was it's nice to know that we were able to hang out with 704,000 of our closest friends. That is the highest total on record. The next highest was last year at 686,000 who attended the week-long show. Now, that doesn't mean everyone was there all week, but it felt like it at some times as you try to get around the grounds.
Especially after the night show.
Yes. Do I have a story about after the night show?
So do I.
Total aircraft this year was more than 1,000 aircraft arriving at Whitman Regional Airport and 16,246 aircraft operations in the period of noon July 17th to noon July 28th. So that is an average of approximately 108 takeoffs and landings per hour when the airport is open.
Did I hear correctly that you said 1,000 airplanes?
No, 10,000.
Oh, okay.
It was definitely more than 1,000.
I know. That's why I was like, I feel like I
And-
counted more than that.
Why were you counting? How did you get to 1,000? That's a lot of fingers.
I have many fingers.
All right. A total of 2,543 show planes at the show, including one belonging to our good friend, the Badger pilot,
That's right.
showing off his vintage Cherokee. Camping. More than 15,000 sites in aircraft and drive-in camping, which accounted for more than 40,000 visitors. And for volunteers, this is a big part of things. I don't think we talk enough about the volunteers that make this all happen. But there's nearly 6,000 volunteers that contributed to nearly 300,000 hours of volunteer work.
Wow.
So that is pretty impressive, the things that go into making this all happen. And of media, there's 900 media representatives on site from 6 continents and us. So 901. Yeah, that's kind of the number breakdown. The other number that they didn't talk about in this this press release, which I don't understand how this wasn't included in there, the Flying Midwest podcast did 15 interviews over the course of the week.
And there was a total of 1 takeoff performed in the wrong direction.
Yes.
Not by the Flying
Always
Midwest
forward.
podcast. Let's clarify that.
Not by us, no. We do know how to follow the lead.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a fun topic of conversation in aviation for the show. Our good friend, well, not our good friend, we do have to claim him as a Midwesterner, unfortunately, but
Oh, we do?
yeah, he's from North Dakota.
Damn it.
Should we talk about our wrong way flyer? I think the rest of it
Yeah.
is, so let's have it.
Yeah, that's true. We can talk about whatever we want. This is our podcast.
I will say, so he was the most visible of the wrong way pilots. However,
Okay.
I will say that flying the arrival the second time when it was busy, there was one guy that tried to cut the line, got called out by tail number, and then decided to go opposite direction, offset laterally by maybe 1.5 miles to get to the end of the line. And ATC was calling him up by tail number, telling him, go south. You're too close to the line, go south. So, but yeah, he did not get quite as much attention because there's no cameras over, the lakes and the procedure and all that. So,
Yet.
Yeah, there were definitely some interesting things that happened, like every Osh. But that was truly one of the most unique that I've seen.
Yeah, and I know that it's getting a lot of attention, but there's part of me that kind of feels bad for that guy. In the sense of, as you listen to it, I mean, he's an older gentleman, it sounds like. I know it's not difficult for people to look at what ratings he holds. There's a certain point in time where I think we just need to acknowledge it's time to hang up the headset, and I wonder if that time has passed for him. It's kind of sad in that regard.
yeah.
You don't want that to be the way that you end your flying career, but unfortunately, I wonder if that may be the case for him. So
It is not the way he's ending his flying career because I have FlightAware to notify me when he's airborne, and he's still flying regularly. So,
that doesn't mean he's the one flying.
I suppose not. I will say this. I hope that he is flying safely, and if he's at the point where he's not ready to hang it up, but maybe recognizes that he shouldn't be doing this solo, there's nothing wrong with still flying with other competent pilots, with flight instructors to stay in the air.
Absolutely.
And who knows, too, the registered owner may or may not even be the pilot that flew in Oshkosh.
Yep.
So who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
But the internet said,
So,
Yeah, the internet.
yeah.
And the procedure's not that hard to follow. I mean, everybody, I think,
Badger
who's never done it. Yeah, if I can do it. I did it twice. Yeah.
Jeez.
No, the notice is very well written. It's very well thought out. I think it works really well. And this year, despite that, there are still the occasional people that either didn't read it or don't understand what they're reading or whatever. But having an opposite direction is not new to this year. I think it was just last year they had to send a bunch of planes around because someone
Bonanza.
because someone was landing opposite direction.
There's a Flight Chops video that I think in part covers that.
Yep, exactly.
Where he was coming in at the same time. So,
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah, it happens every year. But this time, I don't know, there was something rather special. I guess because somebody harvested the audio from his entry and not just him just landing the wrong way.
I heard his
you know?
his arrival live. I was listening to live ATC while I was at work. Don't tell my boss.
Really?
It was scary.
You better hope they don't listen to this podcast.
Right, yeah.
They probably does.
Our lips are sealed. But
It was scary listening to it because he legitimately sounded like he either didn't read the notice or was completely disoriented. It was clear he didn't know where he was, because I also pulled up, various ADSB trackers, and he was saying he was over the Ripon, and he's over the Ripon water tower, and you could see him on ADSB nowhere near the procedures. So it was scary to listen to for sure. But I think the biggest takeaway here, because we do try and stay positive with everything on this podcast, is the phenomenal work that the controllers not only do on an everyday basis for AirVenture, but especially, times like this where, they need everybody to be playing nice. And if somebody's not, the live audio for the arrival was, he wanted to come to Oshkosh, and the controller could have gotten mad and yelled at him. But he offered, you could divert to Appleton, you could divert to Fond du Lac, and the pilot said, well, I'd really like to go to Oshkosh. And the controller was phenomenal. He said, yeah, and we'd love to have you come in here, but I just don't think you're ready yet. Keeping that positive tone. Great work by the controllers.
To everybody we met, that was awesome. Thank you for coming and seeing us, repping our merch every once in a while. We saw some of that. That was pretty great. It was great seeing more and more new and old time listeners. That was really fun this year.
Oh, I do have one highlight. I think we talked about this in the touch and goes, but maybe we didn't. So I'm just going to say it again if I did. Yancey, who met us on Boeing Plaza, I would like to point out that neither Maddie or I were wearing Flying Midwest Podcast merchandise at the time we were on Flying. At the time we were on Boeing Plaza on what, Monday? It was Monday, I think. And accused us of being 2/3 of the Flying Midwest Podcast. I assume because he recognized us by voice, because we weren't wearing any merch.
No, we weren't. We were just wearing media tags.
First of all, thanks for coming and saying hello. Second, that was really kind of a weird / fun moment for me for us to be recognized by voice on Boeing Plaza of all places.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is.
Or maybe he recognizes from social media because we've got such memorable faces. I don't know. I'm going to stick with in my head that it was by voice. Yancey, if that's not the case, that you recognize us from other places, maybe attending events with us in the past or something else, please don't ruin this for me. I want to believe that it was by voice and voice alone.
Could have been.
I doubt it.
There's so many faces in Boeing Plaza at any given time. Gosh, you'd have to be pretty eagle-eyed to see somebody.
Or eagle-eared to hear.
So,
do eagles have good hearing? They have to, right?
I don't know.
What has good hearing? A bat, maybe.
Owls.
Owl-eared, yeah.
Okay.
Or bat.
Owl-eared that's
we've digressed.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway,
should we do some news quick before we start getting into too many weeds?
Probably.
Thank you again to everyone that we did meet. We appreciate you coming and saying hello, and that's always a fun time when we were able to connect with everybody at Oshkosh.
Badger, would you like to go first, or would you like me to go
I
first?
can go first if you would like. We'll take it up to good old Minneapolis-St. Paul MSP Airport, where, and this is news to me, they are now developing RNAV, or Area Navigation Procedures, for arrivals to the airport. So for those not familiar, RNAV is the general term, and we specifically use, generally speaking, GPS navigation. And so there's GPS procedures to come land at the airport when it's low clouds and you can't see. And apparently MSP didn't have these until recently. They've been using a very old, but the only technology I can use in my plane, which is VOR technology, very high frequency omnidirectional range, which, for those that aren't familiar, it's a generally older technology. It's ground-based radio navigation that, for the most part, when they break, the FAA is not fixing them anymore, and they're decommissioning a lot of these. And the one at MSP specifically, they're talking about decommissioning for early 2026. So what does this mean? We need GPS approaches for the most part to get into the airports. So the FAA is following a National Environment Policy Act and reviewing proposed procedures for environmental impacts as well as noise abatement procedures to go along with these RNAV approaches. This is obviously a big deal for a lot of different reasons. Noise abatement is a hot topic, especially near airports, but safety is always number one in aviation. And with the decommissioning of VORs, planes need to be able to find the airport, and these RNAV approaches and departures as well will be designed to keep traffic flowing safely and efficiently throughout the national airspace.
All right, so staying in Minneapolis, this was just yesterday. Was it yesterday? Well, I don't know when you'll hear this. Last week, some plane spotters had the joy of a lifetime because for the only fourth time in Minneapolis-St. Paul history, an A380 Airbus made a stop at MSP. So it was a Lufthansa airplane. It was diverted, so it wasn't supposed to go there. It was going to from Frankfurt to Denver, so it didn't quite make it to Denver. We don't know why. It could have been a medical emergency, but yeah, a pretty rare sight. Earlier this year, plane spotters got to see the Antonov, and so the Antonov 125 came in. So that was pretty cool. Everybody really enjoyed that. But this one was a little bit more of a surprise because it wasn't intended, to go there originally. So, but regardless, hopefully everybody's okay. But it was a bit of an exciting event for local plane spotters.
So I follow on Instagram GoAround29, who's a controller at MSP, and I think so. He actually sheds a little bit more light than the article does. He says that the first scheduled flight by Airbus for an A380 was in 2006 to show off their new double-decker plane, which at the time was Northwest Airlines. And then the next three, including this one, were all due to medical diversions. And then this was the only diversion that occurred during daylight hours.
Interesting.
And if you go find him on Instagram, he credits who actually took the video, but there's video of it landing.
It's a very nice video.
Going to Illinois. Yay. Wah, wah. We love Illinois. And all of our flying Illinois buddies. All right. In Illinois, we know it's no secret the two busiest airports there are Chicago Midway, which of course pales in comparison still to Chicago O'Hare. Both are extremely busy, just constant traffic flow. And Illinois Department of Transportation is trying to find a way to mitigate some of that. They have acquired Bolt Field, which is in the southern suburbs of Chicago. They closed a deal for $34 million, which includes 288 acres of land and will, of course, include the airport's 5,000-foot runway. The goal here is to use Bolt Field as what do they call it? Not a satellite airport, not a feeder airport. What was the term? Reliever airport.
Relief airport.
And we learned that when we had the... But over the last year, the state has reportedly also secured more than 1,150 acres for the project, bringing them over 3,500 acres total. Illinois DOT estimates they'll need about 5,800 acres to completely support the new airport, so this project actually dates back to 1984 when the FAA officially acknowledged that in order to support future capacity, Chicago would need to add a third airport, or in this case, commandeer another airport. Remind me, guys, because they're acknowledging this in 1984. When was MiGs wrongfully demolished?
2003.
Evans logged a landing. So let's get this right. Yeah, March 30th, 2003 is when MiGs officially closed. So since 1984, the FAA acknowledged they needed another feeder airport, yet MiGs is gone. Now, let's face it. We all know the history. MiGs being gone is not the FAA's fault.
No.
But man, it would be nice to still have it.
Yeah.
That turned into a soapbox moment that I wasn't expecting.
It kind of did, didn't it?
It sure did.
That's okay. It's totally warranted.
Although I will say, so the 2020 version of Flight Simulator still has Mig's Field there.
Good for them.
Yeah.
It's important.
That's great. On to events.
On to events.
All right.
That was a great segue, though.
Let's do this. So even if you are from Illinois, we still have an event that we would like you to attend. And bonus points if you're from Minnesota or Iowa or, yes, even Ohio. Skibbity, Ohio. Toilet.
Oh, good.
We have...
No.
Oh, God, no! Is she?
Ohio, I am so sorry for the conduct of the Badger pilot. Let's move on.
I'll tell you what, even if you're from Bismarck, North Dakota, you are welcome to our second annual Flying Midwest podcast, Camping Fly-In, which is coming up soon. It is the end of this month, August 29th through 31st in Phillips, Wisconsin at the Price County Airport. The identifier is PBH Papa Bravo Hotel. We're planning on getting there Friday evening-ish. If you want to come early, too, there's a park that's about walking distance or so, about a half to 3/4 of a mile away, that has free live music on Friday nights. So feel free to come in early. Saturday, Alyssa, friend of the show, and she's actually been very helpful in planning this for us as well, is working on bringing in people from Elevated Access to come in and do a barbecue and talk to pilots about various humanitarian opportunities and nonprofit flying opportunities that they can do. And then go home day is Sunday. We're also right across the street from a restaurant that has beachfront property. So if we don't get enough rain up there to do a bonfire on site, we can go across the street to the beach. They've offered that to us. And other than that, it's a great opportunity to just hang out with other Midwest aviators. For those from the southern parts of Wisconsin that want some northern airports in the passport stamp, it's a great opportunity to base there and launch to other airports that might otherwise be out of your reach. So if you're thinking about coming, please let us know. RSVP at thebadgerpilot@gmail.com. You don't have to stick to it if you say you're coming and you're not, but at least if we can get an idea of head count and how many planes to expect. But you don't have to fly in, you can drive in too, and we'd love to see as many people there, even if it's just for a little while. So hopefully we'll see you guys at the end of the month, August 29th through 31st, Price County Airport.
Well, that all sounds like fun. I wish I could be there. Sorry. Year 2 of not attending. But this time I have a legitimate excuse. My job, I do not have those days off. So I'm going to try at some point. It just never works out. I'm sorry. But I do get the privilege of announcing this episode's guest, Mary Latimer. Mary is an active CFI A&P mechanic and has been doing both of those as well as other charitable work since longer than most of us have been alive. Her list of accolades are extremely long. However, let's have Mary take the floor. Live at Osh, Mary Latimer.
All right, I hit the magic button. We're recording.
Well, welcome everyone back to another episode of the Flying Midwest podcast live at Oshkosh. The air show is going on, but that's okay because we have a very special guest. Mary Latimer, thank you so much for coming on the podcast with us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It's always fun to talk about airplanes and flying.
Isn't it though?
About it.
Yeah.
I love your nails.
Isn't that cool?
I just saw that.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
I wanted to paint little airplanes before I left, but I didn't. I wasn't able to.
Oshkosh.
I know. I love.
Is that what the ring gear is? Okay, so it's an audio-only podcast.
Thank you. I was just going to say that.
So her nails are painted a very beautiful purple with white airplanes, and then, of course, the ring finger needs to be different. And so is that the airport diagram?
Yes.
That is awesome.
That's
amazing.
It's not very often men compliment ladies on their fingernails.
I could, oh, wow. Sorry.
I think it's funny that you guys said something before I did. I've already seen them, so I didn't say anything. I was wondering to see if you guys would notice.
As soon as I did, words came out of my mouth. Yeah.
Well, they were good. They were good words. I'm going to turn this to.
So we start every interview with a fast 5 questions. It's 5 questions, kind of rapid-ish fire.
Okay.
They're fairly benign most of the time. And then it's just to give us that icebreaker and warm us up into the interview. So question number 1, do you have a favorite airplane?
The last one I flew.
I love that answer. Yeah, I love it.
So good.
question number 2. In your opinion, what would be the ugliest aircraft you've ever seen?
Oh, I flew a tri-champ.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, it's got a nose gear and a tail wheel. It's a little bit ugly and weird
That does sound ugly and weird.
and slow.
No, it's got the trifecta. Ugly, weird, and slow. Hey, it's me.
Oh, good grief. We'll wait for this plane for a second.
Friggin' Texas.
They're loud.
They are.
Question number 3. Do you have a favorite place on the grounds?
Oh, here?
Yep.
Well, I've got a block for my husband over at the Brown Arch, so I kind of have to go over there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So,
That was 3, right?
3.
Says the one who's keeping
I wasn't keeping count on my fingers this time. I counted on my fingers and toes one of the
I
last
think
interviews.
that's 3. Yep.
That's 3, yep.
You said favorite, ugliest, and favorite best sucker.
Question number 4. Do you have a favorite aviation movie?
not really.
Do you have one?
How about a favorite aviation book?
Stick and Rudder or, well, actually, I'll change that. Nothing by Chance by Richard Bach.
Okay.
And or Illusions by Richard Bach. Anything by Richard Bach.
Super fair.
We have a very unusual connection.
Okay.
Oh.
But
Is this going to be a question we can ask later?
sure. Exactly. Yes.
All right. And the final question. If you could meet anyone in aviation and have a conversation with them, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh. Maybe Bob Hoover.
Okay.
But,
Good answer.
Yeah. Oh,
I like that one.
Yeah. I wish I could have met Bob Hoover.
yeah. I mean, he could do amazing things with an airplane.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Well, thank you so much for playing along with the Fast 5 questions. You've passed on to the next round, so we'll ask you the real questions for the year,
You started.
All right,
so
Mary, now would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in aviation?
Okay. I haven't done airlines or military. Okay.
Very good.
Let's start with what I haven't done. I got my first airplane ride in 1970. Met this cute guy at the airport, and he took me flying for our first date. And one thing led to another. And so I soloed in 1972.
Wow.
Okay, then we got married in 1970. We wanted to buy and sell and rebuild airplanes. Somebody has to go to... So, if you're going to buy and sell, rebuild airplanes, somebody needs to be a mechanic.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I was a better student, and he made more money, so it only made sense for me to go to school.
Okay.
I didn't know girls didn't go to A&P school in 1973. So I went to A&P school, graduated 1974. May of 74, I've got an A&P license, a commercial pilot, flight instructor, and no jobs. Ooh, because you have to be 5'6" to go to the airlines,
Okay.
and I'm only 5 nothing. And even the schools would be like, we don't think the guys would fly with a girl. I mean, this, that, and the other. So roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And finally, the gentleman at the flight service station, because I was flying back and forth to school, and he's like, why don't you think about being an air traffic controller? So I turned in my application, and I became an air traffic controller in 1976.
Wow.
I did that for 26 years. Wow. And so flew back and forth, and I was flying corporate in the meantime and flight instructing in the meantime and buying and selling. My husband and I had a salvage business for about 10 years during that time frame. So anything and everything.
So you're right. Everything except for commercial airline operations and military.
Right.
Wow.
You
really
You weren't kidding. And when was that first flight again? Did you say 72?
No, my first flight was in June of 1970.
7.
Wow.
So
And the wedding was July of 1970 then?
It was actually September. So,
You know, I guess.
well, right.
you know,
That's amazing.
That is quite the resume that you have then.
Right.
So I want to talk a bit more about some of those challenges, if you don't mind. So with the airlines and with like the different things that you're running into, like how did you cope with that? I guess, for lack of a better term, like Why are words so hard right now?
Because it's hot.
I mean, yeah, you just keep plugging away.
Okay.
You just keep plugging away. I mean, I'm going to A&P school. I didn't know it at the time, but the instructors had set up a betting pool to see how long I would last.
Oh, that's awful.
Wow.
You know, and it's an 18-month school. None of them gave me more than 2 weeks. And I was the only one that started on my class date that finished on the class date.
Really?
And then they wouldn't let the newspaper print the fact that I made the highest grades of anybody that ever went through the school.
Really?
Of course not.
Don't want to embarrass the poor guys.
No.
Their egos can't handle it.
And so, but you keep, you're like, okay, you keep applying for jobs and this, that, and the other. Finally, I found a gentleman in McAllister, Oklahoma, that offered me a job flying, turning wrenches, doing whatever, teaching, whatever needed to be done.
Okay.
And so I went up there for about 6 months and had it was a very intense 6 months.
Sure.
So I had my first emergency up there.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. So everybody's afraid of having their first emergency and they're going to how they're going to handle it.
Yeah.
And most people are expecting, electrical failure, an engine failure. Oh, no. Mary gets to have an elevator jam doing stalls with a student.
No. Oh, yikes.
Wow.
And so I'm up there. Student recovers from the stall, pushes a nose over, adds full throttle. And then when we go back to pull back on the elevator, it's jammed.
Oh.
So I did red line a 172. I don't know how far past red line that was no longer relevant information.
Right. Yeah.
But the trim tab is very, very effective at red line.
I will bet.
And the guardian angels were hard at work that day because I had gone up 1,000 feet higher than normal with this particular student for no good reason. And I was 900 feet above the ground when I pulled it out of the dive.
Oh, wow. It's quite the story.
Yeah, I've got
Wow.
So you just got like,
Yeah.
after that, an engine failure seems like
easy.
Yeah.
what's scary about that?
Right.
Yeah, wow. So how did that affect your flying? And
Well, I developed a very deep aversion to stalls
Fair.
and aerobatics
I'll
and
bet.
things like that. I'm like, the first time I went up to go do stalls with a student was difficult,
yeah.
but pushed through. I'm still not like, I don't want to do aerobatics.
Fair.
But that, but I understand what's going on, but still, you're just kind of like, yeah, it wasn't a fun thing. And I can live without doing that, but I still enjoy teaching. And I like to teach stalls as gently and minimal effect as possible, which is what they're supposed to be.
So how long have you instructed then?
I got my STFI in 1974.
Okay, that's what I thought you said.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is quite the tenure of instructor. You're still instructing now then?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what over the years have you noticed as far as changes with instructing or getting more women into aviation? What does that look like from your perspective?
Okay. Well, in 2011, I took my granddaughter to the WASP homecoming. Okay, in Sweetwater. She had just turned 16, and she had soloed 5 airplanes on her 16th birthday.
Wow.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool.
That's really cool.
Cool.
Go
Not
big or
really
go
great airplanes, but, a couple Cherokees, Cessnas, a Tri-Pacer, but she soloed. So I take her to the WASP Museum, and we, at that time, this was 2011, we still had a few of the original WASPs able to make it, and they all had these female military pilots that were kind of acting as escorts for them to bring them water, do whatever they needed.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I was talking to this young lady that was escorting one of them. Her name was Crystal. Okay, Crystal flew B-1 bombers.
Wow.
And so I dragged my granddaughter. I'm like, Amanda, this is Crystal. Crystal flies B-1 bombers. How cool is this? And then, I don't know, Crystal, this is my granddaughter, Amanda. She just turned 16 last week, soloed 5 airplanes. And Crystal looks at Amanda and says, I'm so jealous of you. And I'm like, okay, I need answers.
Say more about that.
Why is a B-1 bomber pilot jealous of the 16-year-old kid? And she's like, when she was 16, she wanted to fly. Her parents wouldn't allow her to take flying lessons.
Oh, okay.
And so when she turned 18, she joined the Air Force, and Mom and Dad no longer have any influence.
Right.
And so I started looking at that and thinking about it, and the WASP had a highly effective program for women. I mean, obviously they were pilots when they got there,
Yep.
but they flew everything in the fleet. They were successful. They flew airplanes that the guys didn't want to fly.
Sure.
They'll put me in an airplane, please. And so that all-female environment made a difference. And so I asked myself, would an all-female environment work for female students in today's world? And so there's no way to know the answer until you just put it out there.
That's true.
So I opened my doors and said, okay, I will have an all-female program. I did it in August of 2011. North Texas, not ideal. Okay. Sure, but I had a reason because at the time I was a pilot examiner. Okay. And so August 11th was of 2011 was the 100th anniversary of Harriet Quimby becoming the first U.S. Certified pilot.
Wow.
So I had to honor her.
Of course.
And so being able to issue a lady a pilot certificate on August 11th
That's pretty
felt
neat.
was important.
Wow.
But I didn't know whether the ladies would come.
Sure.
Didn't know, can I meet their expectations? What do they need? What do they want? Will it work? And I wasn't charging for my time. They came from California to Florida and parts in between.
Wow.
And I'm like, maybe there is a need for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And what's special is that the ladies come together and 10, 20, 30, 40 women in the room, and there's always going to be somebody who's struggling with a topic.
Sure.
Okay. And so if Maddie's struggling with weight and balance, okay, then the others in the room is like, let Mary move on, and we'll bring you up to speed.
Aw.
You know, and so basically nobody gggets left behind.
Okay.
That's
You know,
fantastic.
and that does not happen in a male-dominated classroom.
Sure.
Nope.
You know, they're, you know, I mean, I don't in the mat, but it's kind of like the men are more competitive. The women, it's kind of like we were competitive with ourselves, but we don't, you know, we lift everyone up.
Sure.
And then, you know, another thing is women, everybody thinks we're more fearful, and that's the wrong terminology. We're more risk averse.
Okay.
Okay, so if we don't understand the risks involved with something, we're afraid. And that's perfectly logical and reasonable. Once we understand what's going on, then we're like, oh, I don't need to be afraid of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, okay, I don't want to run out of gas. Hey, we got fuel gauges, but I also can tell time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to run out of gas.
Right.
I don't have to fly in bad weather. I don't have to make bad decisions.
Sure.
I've been reading accident reports for a little over 50 years. Oh, okay. And I have never read an accident report where a female pilot deliberately flew into IMC, instrument meteorological conditions, and died. Okay. Men do it all the time.
Sorry, guys.
You know, I mean, I know men that do it deliberately. They don't have an instrument rating, and they're like, you know, they tell me, it's like, well, I don't need to take no stinking test. I know how to fly in the clouds.
Yeah. This will be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I have an autopilot.
Oh, God.
Would you say it's fair to also say then that women probably have a better understanding of their abilities as opposed to men, that we just, oh yeah, we can do it, no problem?
Oh, absolutely. If a person has a skill set of, say, 5, okay, female of the species, her confidence level is going to be between 1 and 4.
Okay.
Okay, male of the species, the skill set is also 5, but their confidence level is going to be somewhere between 4 and 20.
And that's just out of 10.
Yeah. Right.
And, you know, and it's kind of like, that's not all of the, I mean, you know, when your skill set's a 5 and your confidence is a 4, you're perfect. You're a little bit better than you believe you are. So you get a little bit past your comfort level, you've got the skills to manage it.
Sure.
But when you jump in, when you think you're a 10 and you got a skill set of 5, you're going to do things that will get you in some serious trouble.
Yeah.
And that's not just aviation. That's across the board.
Sure.
I mean, and women are more closer to the resignation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're more likely to cancel a trip or what have you because they're not comfortable, even though they're well within their skill set.
Gotcha.
But, I have yet to read an accident report where a woman tried to fly 5 hours when she had 4.5 hours of gas in the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if a woman runs out of gas, it's because she had a fuel leak. And
Oh, funny.
men look at where they started, and they look at what they've accomplished. And they've accomplished a lot. Okay. If you've taken off and landed an airplane by yourself, you're in like 0.001% of the population on the planet that's ever done that.
Sure.
So this is special. Okay. And then women are like 5 or 6% of that number. Okay. But women have that same skill set, but they're not looking at what they've done. They look at what they have left to learn.
Okay.
So a whole different perspective.
Yeah, different perspective, different mindset. Yeah.
And all I can say is both sides need to look both ways. Own what you've
100%.
learned and be proud of it, but keep your eye on how, I mean, quite honestly, it's kind of like when you quit learning, that's the day you need to quit flying.
Yep.
Yes.
100%. So how has Gift Academy kind of evolved over the years? Have you done it every year since then?
I have done it in Vernon every year since then.
That's awesome.
Okay.
How has that program expanded for you?
Well, it's kind of been kind of a roller coaster. We tried to do it in a couple of other venues. We tried to do it in the Dallas area a couple of times. Different people get involved and they have different ideas of the direction it's going to go, and it doesn't always work. I had a lady over here in Sheboygan, and she put it on a couple of years, and then life gets in the way. She's working now and cannot do it. Lynn Kaywood is doing it. She's done 2 or 3 sessions up in Frederick, Maryland, which is my dream, is to have it either become no longer necessary. That would be ideal, but move on to other places as I age out of the industry.
Sure.
Then it would be nice if that legacy could continue onward. And these women, I mean, I laugh because some of the women come. Basically, their intention is to be a companion pilot.
Sure.
Their husbands are pilots, and they just want to know what's going on. Or basically, they want to be able to land the airplane if he croaks. Okay. Well, we're going to practice pulling him off the yoke. Because that's going to be the first trick.
Yeah.
You can't get him off the elevator, you're not going to be able to land the airplane.
Yeah.
But then I kind of like, well, if he's older and maybe you're concerned about his health, you own an airplane, why don't you get your pilot license so that you can continue to utilize that airplane, even though he may or may not be able to maintain a medical.
Ooh.
Okay, and then I get them that far, and then I'm like, then the next step is like, well, you have an airplane, you've got the time, you've got the money, why don't you go ahead and become a flight instructor so you can share that with other people? You're not doing it for the money, you are doing it because it brings you, joy and shares that legacy, and it makes you happy. And so, a handful of women came to be a companion pilot, and a couple of years later, they're flight instructors, and they're still wondering what happened.
They got hit by the bug is what happened.
Hey, you play the long game. I like it.
Yeah.
It's just fun to do that.
Yeah.
And, had one lady, she came to me that she was flying in her dad's Bonanza. It had an engine failure. The guy flying it, they had to make an off-airport landing. The airplane did not fare so well. But after that, her landings were atrocious.
Sure.
Because she's scared of the ground.
Yeah.
So I go out there and I fly with her, and I'm like, okay, I know why you're afraid to get close to the ground, but we both know what's going to happen if we flare this high.
Right.
And so, basically just saying it out loud made it work. And I'm like, so we got that. Well, let's go ahead and finish your instrument. got that. You got enough hours. Let's go ahead and do the commercial. I need flight instructors for my gift academy. So let's go ahead and do that. And I need instruments. So basically, I pushed her all the way through that. And then she was set to inherit her dad's business. Okay, oil field supply, which is a man's world. And then her dad remarried, and her son was going to take over the business now. So my friend is no longer in fact, her long-term plans changed. Okay, so what am I going to do now? Well, she started flying pipeline patrol, and now at the tender age of 61, she got her first jet job flying for Vista.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Nice.
And I have to imagine a lot of those differences go beyond just aviation, right? Because you're talking about confidence and seeing a positive role model.
Right.
Oh, if she can do it, I can too.
Yeah.
Do you have any stories of pilots that have trained with you that have said, well, I'm a woman in a man's profession, so to speak, but I did it and I proved I can do it, and then gone on to do it again in a different field?
I know of at least 3 of the ladies that have trained with me that left abusive marriages.
Okay,
Wow.
that's even better.
Yeah. I mean, you're like, I can fly an airplane. I do not need to take this.
Yeah.
And they kick them to the curb and they walk on, they move on with their life. And,
Amazing.
And you just kind of like, that one just, the first time that happened, I'm like, I did not see that coming. And my thought process is that if you're a parent of a teenage daughter, you probably ought to get her flying lessons. I've also discovered that the ladies, not just ladies, I'm sorry, anyone who has a pilot license, when they apply for a job in another career field, that as long as they have the qualifications for it, that pilot certificate takes them to the front of the line. Okay, so you want to be a store manager, nursing, virtually anything. So we've proven academic knowledge. We've proven the practical application of that knowledge. And then we've proven risk management and being able to prioritize what needs to be done, but we can pivot in a heartbeat if a situation arises that greater priority.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so what do you want in your medical people? What do you want in your teachers?
Sure.
What, so
Exactly.
it's a very life-changing thing. So I'm like, there'll be boys and girls, like, get them those pilot licenses. Even if they do want a career in something else, it gives them this boost that it sets them apart.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think, in my perspective, from learning how to fly kind of exposes you to the antidote of all the 5 hazardous attitudes.
Yes.
Yeah, I can make a difference. I should follow the rules, and having those mindsets of, not being helpless, learning how to fix problems, not making rash decisions, not, doing things before thinking about them. Those are all like universal skills.
Right.
At the moment, what are you up to? So obviously you've done Gift Academy for a long time. You're still actively flight instructing. What are you up to now, and where do you see yourself in the future?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm 71, so I'm kind of like, doing a little less. My husband passed away about 3 years ago, so my motivation is not where it needs to be.
Sure.
Yeah.
And,
Understandable.
And he's, he was the one that did all. I mean, I had my MP, but he was the one that turned the wrenches more than I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't like turning wrenches particularly. It's a necessary evil, not something you like to do. But that's made everything harder.
Sure.
So
how are you involved? I know you're involved with the 99s and a lot of other, like, here we're actually at Women Venture, the booth here, right, booth. It's a building. We have a whole building now. So how are you involved with the 99s and stuff?
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm, like I say, the Wichita Falls, I'm the chapter chair.
Okay.
It's a very small chapter, but we still, connect with each other, and
Sure.
we don't do a whole lot. A few years ago, we were able to do a section meeting in Wichita Falls.
Oh, very cool.
Okay, so we had 5 active members.
Mm-hmm.
We had about 100 people that showed up for the section meeting, and and I put my heart and soul into it, and so we had a paint and wine event one night.
Oh, okay.
I organized a tour of Shepherd Air Force Base, so that was cool. And then I organized a tour of Air Tractor Factory, which is in Olney, Texas.
Okay.
So they went down there to that, and then another friend was having a private air show at his private runway, so we got a special invitation to that. So,
Honey.
all in all, it was a pretty good meeting.
Yeah, sounds like
Wow. Sounds like the meeting to end all meetings. That's the one. Everybody go home.
it. Or a place to grow from.
True.
Yeah. And
Airplanes.
Not that bad.
yeah,
I was waiting for more noise than that was.
yeah.
I'm doing a jet, so I had my reasons. Anyway. You have a very special thing happening this year. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, yeah. So I just found out a couple of weeks ago that tomorrow morning I will be inducted into the Flight Instructor Hall of Fame.
That is fantastic.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
It's,
That was a little louder.
that was a salute.
You were in that one.
Yeah. So that was kind of, pretty. That doesn't get to happen to everybody.
Sure.
Right.
Okay. Back in February, I was given the Charles Taylor Award for 50 years as an aircraft mechanic, and then the Wright Brothers Award for 50 years as a pilot.
Wow.
So there's not very many women that hold either of those, much less
Right.
both of them.
Yeah.
And so,
Oh, that's an incredible accomplishment.
and I have started writing down some of my stories and trying to create a book.
That's
I'm
awesome.
That is a great idea. Yeah, I love that idea for you.
I don't know much about the publishing world, so that's going to be that's the biggest challenge.
Sure.
Okay.
Finding, and then, so I've, got about 210 pages of my stories to put together. And then my airplane also wrote a book.
Oh, really? Do tell.
So I had a 172 that was donated to my gift academy.
Oh, yes.
172 and a Cherokee, both of them weren't donated, but the 172 needed paint. And a friend of mine, they rebuild air tractors, and I went to him and I'm like, what would it take to get you to paint my airplane? And he's like, I'll do it for materials.
Nice.
And I'm like, done.
Nice.
And then he got some other donations. Anyway, it didn't cost me anything for him to paint my airplane purple.
It is a good looking airplane.
And so, but, flying around in a purple airplane, my thought process is little girls can see a purple airplane and think that it's a girl plane.
Sure.
And, and the guys, there's a few guys like, I don't want to fly a purple airplane. And I'm like, young single guys, I'm like, really? Because the girls really like the guys that crawl out of it. So a couple of them, they flew that airplane and they realized that the girls do want to talk to the pilot that flies that airplane. Change their tune. But basically her name is Lilac, but my husband called her Pinky. So anyway,
Cute.
but she wrote an airplane to explain what her job as the airplane is to help you as the student become a pilot.
That's really cool.
I love that.
I mean, and basically we're targeting small children.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, well, who is your target audience? And I'm like, well, when the book kind of started evolving, because I just sat at the typewriter and started typing. I swear to God, I was channeling the airplane. And, and I'm just typing it. But it's kind of like, I think the target audience is the mothers reading the story to their children.
Sure.
True.
I like that.
That's awesome. So they kind of like, the kids can enjoy the story, but the mothers are like, this doesn't sound as hard as they made it out to be.
Right.
For sure.
And so maybe we can get some of those young mothers to pursue aviation.
Oh, that's awesome. We have a final question we ask everybody.
Okay.
And you can be as inflammatory as you so desire. What? Okay, we're giving you the invitation, whatever you want to say. What is your aviation unpopular opinion or biggest pet peeve?
The DPE process.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
care to elaborate?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was a DPE for 8 years, and two gentlemen made complaint. Well, they failed their check rides, unfortunately, but they didn't meet the standards.
Sure.
But they complained to the FAA, and they claimed that I had discriminated against them, which I'm like, you were going to kill yourself. I did you a favor.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, but they revoked my privileges, and one of the young men actually changed his story in writing. He retracted his statement in writing, and they wouldn't reopen the case. And so since then, we definitely have a shortage of DPEs.
Oh, 100%.
There's an absolute shortage of DPEs.
Yeah.
And so that's the first part of it. In my situation, theoretically, there's this appeal board. Okay, so I got a one-page letter from the FAA telling me that I'm being revoked and why. Okay, and then I have an opportunity to file an appeal with this so-called appeal board. And meantime, I filed a FOIA request. Okay, so the appeal, I've got 30 days to reply. The FOIA request takes 6 weeks. The timeline doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, and so the FOIA request, the FAA sent 70 documents to the appeal board that I did not get to see and address. A whole stack of allegations.
Wow.
And, and I had an answer for every one of them, but I wasn't ever given an opportunity to defend myself.
Yeah.
And the FAA had most of that information, and they only chose to disclose what they wanted. And so, where's this face it's a totally screwed up system. So we need to have a better appeal process where somebody that's not involved, doesn't know them, can look at it and, like, say, the person who's being revoked can honestly say why they're being revoked, or why they made the decisions they made.
Yeah.
And then the flip side of that is, I know several DPEs who should not be DPEs. Okay, and one of my ladies, she went to take a check ride, and the guy flew with 2 students while she was clocks running on her check ride, and then he fails her because she wasn't prepared, and he gave her 2 answers to spit out answers for CFI, and she, like I say, he didn't start the oral until 2:30 in the afternoon. She'd been there since 8:30.
Wow.
And then he's like, well, I have something to do at 5, and at 4:30 he failed her. But he's still an examiner. And, and there's some other stories that are far more egregious than that.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. We really, really appreciate your time and for taking a moment for us at AirVenture. And congratulations again on the honor of
so exciting.
The CFI induction.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, that was a really fun interview with Mary at AirVenture. Like you said, you pulled us out of a forum to go, we have to go talk to Mary, and we were all for it. And I'm really, really glad that we were able to sit down with her and hear all about her story. So that was awesome.
Yeah, she has so much fun stories to tell. Yeah, Mary was so fun to get together with and talk to. I was really glad we were able to make that work on such short notice.
I mean, I don't know what I was going to think seeing a purple plane. Not that there's anything wrong with purple, but just not really sure what to expect. It is a beautiful plane.
What kind of plane was it? I can't remember.
It's
a 172. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Are you stalking her on Facebook?
I am stalking her on Facebook. Absolutely, I am. She calls it violet, and rightfully so. It's like a violet / lavender combo paint scheme. It's beautiful. I'm actually really jealous now. Now I want a purple plane.
So coming up in the very near future, we talked quite a lot about cheese curd tacos, both last year at AirVenture, over the last year, over multiple episodes, and a lot of the touch and goes. And if you've listened to those, you're aware that we interviewed Richie of Richie's Cheese Curd Tacos. That interview will be coming out on Wednesday exclusively on Patreon, and then later in the week for our Discord folks, and then finally for our main audience that will come out in a future episode, probably next Sunday. We want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for all of their support along the way, and we've been kind of slacking a little bit on getting some stuff out there. So to make up for that, you will be the first to hear about cheese curd tacos. The other thing that I'll put in here is thank you so much to Chuck Kelleher. He is our newest patron at the FBO line crew level. Appreciate your support as well as all of our other Patreon supporters.
Welcome.
If you're interested in supporting us on Patreon, you can join us at patreon.com/flyingmidwest.
If you are not feeling as cool as Chuck, but still want to find ways to support the channel, you can, of course, like, subscribe, rate, and review on all of your favorite podcast players, and especially review. I know we're often asking for reviews, but we will read them on the show, even if it contains some constructive criticism, as long as it's 5 stars. But putting some form of words in there really does help the algorithm and get word out about our little podcast here.
Well, I think that's enough for all the extracurriculars at the end of the episode where we tell you to do all the stuff and the things. I just want to say thank you all so much for joining us on this episode of the Flying Midwest Podcast. And until next time,
See you!
See ya.
see ya!
Push 536, contact Minneapolis Center 132.35 today.
Thanks so much for joining us on the Flying Midwest Podcast. Until next time, podcast service terminated, squawk VFR, frequency change approved. Good day.
Whether it was aviation history or innovation or camaraderie, it was present in countless... Oh, wow. It was We'll start the whole thing over.
Men firing rifles at target, miss, hit driver on Interstate 35.
By target, are we talking about the store or are we talking about a target?
At first I thought the store, but...
Okay. Badger raised their hand.
Wait, does it really work?
Well, you are physically raising your hand. I pushed the raised hand buddy.
There's a button for that. This Badger raises their hand. Open.
There you go.
Yeah, there's whole hazardous. Oh, wow.
Hazard ass.
And there's hazard ass attitudes.
Yeah.
I made most of that up. I didn't really read the article.
I'm sure it was fine. It was
And
great.
it's not factually accurate. Are we going with that?
Would you like me to do the Illinois one?
I mean, if you're asking me if I want to talk about Illinois, the answer is probably no.
Wait, what?
Sort of grow it. And that's actually a fairly short article.
Have lots of things to say that aren't coming out of Maddie's mouth properly. You ever just start talking and then the sentence kind of gets auto-generated? That's what's happening right now. Jim, I am so sorry for all the cuts you're gonna have to do.
Should be.
I'm trying.
I know you are.
I'm like out of like my brain is just giving me words, but none of them are the right ones.
With you.
That works.
I love it.
Oh, thanks. You don't have to. You don't have to say that.
Oh, I do. When have we ever said a guest should take the floor? I like it. It's original. I never would have thought of that.
We have.
Huh.
You're so right.
Oh, but we should have said take the runway.
It's not too late. I'm already going to cut the hell out of this, so...